Hi, I'm Annie Botticelli, and welcome to my May 2019 horoscope report for you, where I will give you the need-to-knows for your sign, plus talk about the general transits that no doubt will be affecting you. I'll let you know the places where the stars are in beautiful harmony and the possibilities that are open from those connections, as well as the places where the stars are in conflict and the challenges that could come from those connections. And resources, ideas, tips on how to use that energy and understand the energy to create alchemy in your life and have the most graceful and productive month possible. Definitely go to my website, anniehelpsyou.com, where I have lots of resources for you on your journey, including a very extensive astrology blog. You can see my new moon and full moon blogs that can help you make the most of those portals of energy that open every couple of weeks. You can sign up for a live reading at my site, and you can also sign up for my astrology apprenticeship program if you resonate with how I teach astrology and you would love to learn. Check out my new book, Radical Prayer, Transform Your Life and the World in 28 Days, which is an Amazon bestseller. You can see that on Amazon or at radicalprayerbook.com. So let's see what the stars have for you this month. Hello, Pisces friends. We're going to talk about the aspects in May 2019 that will be flavoring your experience of the month. We've got the sun moving through Taurus, and in general, when planets are in the energy of Taurus, and we have quite a few representations throughout this month of Taurus transits, those are in a beautiful aspect to your placement. So whenever we're looking at how the planetary movements are going to affect a specific sign, what we're looking at really is the mathematics behind it, because the angles between the signs flavor the energies at play. So when planets are moving through signs that are more in an angle that has harmony, then you will be feeling that. And when planets move through signs that create angles with your sign that are more awkward or challenging, then you will also be feeling that. So the Taurus placements this month are the saving grace for Pisces, and what they can help you with are bringing stability and structure and certainty to areas of your life where you haven't had that. So while I'm calling the theme of this month Your Turn for Money, it's so much more than just money. It's that material realm that's really being brought into focus. And it's not just this month. There are factors this month, short-term factors, that are bringing this energy of question of stability and certainty and groundedness to your life and consistency. But the money house is being aspected in a short-term and a long-term way. But there are many other things that go along with that money realm. It is basically the material realm, period. So opportunities to establish financial security, opportunities to establish self-esteem security, anything having to do with anything in your life that needs consistency, this is what's coming up. So if you are a Pisces that already has some good discipline in certain areas, what's being called for you is not necessarily to get more disciplined in the areas that you're disciplined. Usually when these things are going on, it's asking for more discipline in the areas where you're not disciplined. And I learned this. I learned so much about astrology by watching how the stars have affected me over time, and Spirit just speaking to me about the lessons that are at play. And I'm overall a super disciplined person and really organized in a lot of ways. And when these energies were speaking to me in a big way a long time ago, and I was like hearing Spirit say, oh, you have to be more disciplined. And I'm like, there's no way. There's no way I can be more disciplined. And then, I kind of like heard Spirit laugh in a way, saying, Annie, no, it's not the places where you're already disciplined that you need to be more disciplined, because you already have that. It's adding that structure, that consistency, that anchor in the places where you're not. So this month, you have an opportunity to be really honest with yourself, because ultimately we're the only ones that, can really figure this out. So, and if you need help and support to go out to help someone, show you your blind spots, that's totally fine. But you have to really ask yourself the questions every day when you wake up, throughout the day, when you go to sleep. Are there certain things, practices that you are not doing that if you did them, they would give you more certainty and structure and stability in your life? And are there things that you're doing that if you didn't do those things, you would have more structure and stability, etc. So that's going to be like one of the big areas of focus and opportunity at this time. Some of the other factors that are at play this month, we've got Mars in Gemini. Now, in general, this is a really scattered energy, and it doesn't, in some ways, it matches well with Pisces because it spins. Like Pisces energy is, it spins, and so does this Gemini. It's a spinning type of energy. But Gemini energy spins more mentally, and in this case, like physically moving your body spinning. And Pisces is more of like an emotional, internal, philosophical, spiritual spin. So there's a spinning going on that could either flow with or make you feel dizzy and kind of distracted and scattered. But in general, the energy of Mars in Gemini is like forcing action. You know, things are going to want to happen and you're going to have to do them. So if you can use that energy of action towards these other things that we were talking about, then it will be very well placed. But in general, let's see, 1, 2, 3. In general, the energies of Gemini are not in an angle that is easy with Pisces. Okay, so we started out the conversation by talking about these angles. You know, the Taurus angles, they're at a 60-degree angle to Pisces. That's why they're supportive. But this 90-degree angle, this square, is in a conflict. But that's okay, because sometimes we need a conflict or a conflictive energy or an antagonistic energy to push into action. So you'll have that with that placement. Then later in the month, as Mars gets into Cancer, that's going to be an energy that's more conducive to how energy moves through you. Okay, and that's when Mars will start to trine all of your aspects. And so maybe some of the spinning and uncertainty and planning and figuring out that happens at the earlier part can get into a nicer flow, you know, as you get your groove on. So that's the potential that I see for that there. We also have a good bit of energy in Aries throughout the month. And in general, Aries is a pretty awkward energy with Pisces as well. So if I had to evaluate the month, I'd say there are more awkward energies than there are the matching easy ones. But that doesn't have to necessarily mean anything. What that means is that the discomfort that you have, if you use it to push into action, then you will you'll be able to prevail here. So this sector of money that's really coming up is like one of the big effects here is the sun. Okay, so when the sun moves into the money house, the second house, this is like a spotlight. So I always talk about the sun as being a spotlight wherever it goes. And when you put a spotlight or like really good lighting in a room, then you see things in there. Like you start to see the cracks in the wall, you see the spider web, so you see the things that need focus, okay? But you also see the beautiful colors light up. You know, you see some of the details in pictures or whatever it is. So it's not an energy that is of itself good or bad. There's a spectrum of potentials there. But what it is it's highlighting it, spotlighting it. So your money sector, how you live, even for people who are focused on sustainability and being in sync with the earth, there's a focus on the natural rhythm with your connection with the earth or not. And then there's a focus on anything material, so your finances and your material items. So those things are all coming up to be worked with. So in summary about the second house this month, you can definitely have a good chance to evaluate and reevaluate your finances, your self-esteem that's directly related to your finances, and any other material areas of focus. Another area that has been strongly highlighted for you and is continuing to be is the first house. And I will pop the charts in to show you how there's a massive amount of energy in the second house, a massive amount of energy in the first house. And the first house has to do with your physical body, your image, how you present yourself out in the world. And of course, there's always a relationship here, you know, because when you're more sure of yourself and when you feel good and when you have, you know, certainty as to what you're trying to bring to the world, then it's going to make it a lot easier to have stability in the material realms. And sometimes, you know, we just kind of get kicked out of the nest and go have to make money, and some of those things aren't established. But this period of time for Pisces is about reestablishing places where there was not a strong foundation, establishing that foundation so that you can soar. So I'm going to pop the charts in now just for a minute to show you the clusters of energy, and that's for early, middle, and late degree placements. Then you'll see me back on the screen, and we'll talk about the general transits, including some specific dates to note and other things that will be affecting you this month. Okay, so real quick, here's the visual of what I'm talking about this month. And actually the factors that are on my mind for this month are the same for early, middle, and late degree placements. So when I talk about things that have a difference between the early, middle, and late, then I always differentiate there. But the energies I'm talking about this month, you can see are all the same. So here's for the early degree chart. See how that second chart and the second house and the first house is just really heavy, and that's with short-term and long-term energy. The middle degree chart, very full in the second house, very full in the first house. So we were referring to all of those. And then you can see for the late degree chart that there's equal fullness for the second house and the first house. So those things are the same. Now, the things that are different, actually, there's just one thing I'm going to point out really fast that's different, and this has to do with Mars. And for this one, you'll need to see if you're an early, middle, or late degree placement. Okay, so early degree, you're our February born or 0 to 9 degrees if you know your placement. Middle, you're March 1st through 10th or 10 to 19 degrees. And late, March 11th through the rest of the sign or 20 to 29 degrees. Okay, so just take a moment and figure out where you're at in there, and then you can see that the one thing that I didn't mention before that I want to just bring to you about Mars, it will make a difference for the timing where you're at with this one. All right, so let's get this out of there. So for early degree placements, Mars is accentuating the fourth house. We'll talk about what that means in a second. We just want to see where it's at for everybody. Middle degree, you're starting to have that as well. Some of you late middle degrees, it's going to take a few weeks for this to get there for you, but it's going to be sometime within May. For you late degree placements, you can see that not quite yet. Mars is not there yet, but sometime later into May, you will have Mars accentuating the fourth house as well. And what that means is the energy of busyness and restlessness and activity in the sector of the home. Home and family will require a lot of energy and focus. Sometimes that can be like house projects or real estate projects or work from home projects, or if you have some other business that is centered around homes, that can be a very busy work sector. For many people, it brings a move, a restlessness to move, or trying to make plans to move, or getting more settled in your house, but like doing stuff at your house. So you late degree people and some of you later middle degree people, you have the first part of May where you still have Mars energies in your third house, which has to do with general travel and busyness, communication, things like that. So there might be more of a focus on third house sectors. So like relatives that aren't your parents or kids, like nephews, uncles, aunts, cousins, things like that. And then also this is a transportation and communication sector. Now, since the third house is ruled by the sign of Gemini, really even the early and middle degree Pisces placements are having this sector activated by Mars, even in the absence of Mars being there, because Mars is in the sign, Gemini, that rules that house. So any early and middle or late degree placement could see needing new phones or desire to upgrade phones, getting new cars or modes of transportation. And if you have to do that, my favorite time is in the middle of the month. And I will go into more details about that right now, actually, because I'm going to talk about the general transits and these pretty dicey things to look out for, and the flow of sweet energy where I love launches and important things. So let's check out the general transits now. So I'm calling the theme of May 2019 for all signs, conquer the obstacles and gain the rewards, because this month we've got all kinds of obstacles, but there's actually more sweet energy than there are challenging energies. And there are going to be things to get through, but you have a lot on your side for getting past them with flying colors. The factors that flip the switch towards action in April are still at play very much this month in May. So we have the first month in a long time without having a personal planet retrograde, either shadow period or the actual retrograde, as part of the equation. So in April, even though Mercury was not retrograde, the whole first half of April, the post-shadow period from Mercury was still in effect. Now here in May, we don't have Mercury, Venus, Mars, the personal planets at all retrograde, nor do we have any of their shadow periods for the transit. So we don't have that to impede progress. At the same time, there are multiple placements in very grounded Taurus, and Jupiter is still retrograde, and Saturn is now going retrograde, and all of these factors can serve to balance ambitions, adding more of a streamlined approach. So you'll hear me talking about this theme for a while because there are multiple factors in the stars that are really telling us to get super efficient with our energy. So you'll have more opportunities this month to really get stuff done, but at the same time, there are challenges to overcome, and there is this sort of reevaluation of the things that you've brought out and checking in and strengthening to see what you need for future expansion. There are many great aspects in Gemini or with Mercury, which rules Gemini this month. So that's going to bring lots of communication, lots of movement, lots of busyness, brilliant social opportunities. We'll have advancement of writing and other creative projects, anything having to do with travel, upgrading communication devices and modes of transportation. All of those things are in the Mercury Gemini domain. So expect a lot of focus in those areas of life. And there are a lot of beautiful aspects that can help boost those efforts. At the same time, there are also a number of clashes with the energy. I'd say more good effects than challenging ones, but we still have to look out for them, and you still will have to overcome them. So there could be some mini slowdowns or drama that come from those challenges. As with April, in May, there's also a hurriedness that goes along with a lot of these energies, and that is could lend itself to unnecessary injuries or accidents or wasting time or just not paying attention to things that can come from that distractedness. So definitely be extra aware and breathe and try to stay centered as you move your body and as you're communicating and as you're carrying through all of these things that want to come through this month. So Jupiter is still in retrograde, and this is one of the factors I referred to earlier. It's asking us to pull in a little bit and to carefully evaluate these next steps. So we want to conserve energy while making the most impact. And Jupiter was on an expansion spree for a while, and things are getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And then as it's been in retrograde, now it's a time to shore up the foundation for the future expansion. So the theme of creating systems that fix situations where you were spread too thin is going to continue this month. And also, as with April, the energy of fewer brilliantly placed efforts rather than a whole bunch of haphazard efforts, the best that you can. Now, it's not going to be super easy to do that in some ways because we do have a lot of energy in Aries, we do have a lot of energy in Gemini, besides that grounded Taurus, which is kind of the glue that helps it all hold together. But it will be busy, it will be scattered, and there will be a lot going on. In general, there are a ton of awesome transits this month. And like I said, more sweet days than challenging ones, but for the beginning of the month and the end of the month, especially, like everything away from just like the exact middle of the month, pretty much, every time there's a sweet aspect, there's a super challenging one, and a lot of times the same exact day. And it's just kind of crazy. So that means that there will be obstacles to get through to gain the rewards, which is why I call the theme of the month that, expect some challenges. It's not going to be like you just walk up to the gates of the place that you're trying to go and you just walk in, It always reminds me of Paperboy, that game Paperboy, when like the guy's just trying to deliver his newspapers and there's like crazy people and dogs and stuff just like trying to get in his way, right? That's what life feels like sometimes. But you can maneuver around it and get the papers delivered this month for sure. But it's going to take work to get to your goals and consistency. So there's a beautiful flow of sweet transits between May 11th and May 18th. There are some challenging ones around the 11th and there are some challenging ones around the 18th, but all the time in between, they are like right in the mid-month, is just sweet aspects, so many sweet aspects every day. So if you have to do something important and you need to have oomph without antagonism, your best time of the month to launch and try to push things through is the middle of the month, because that will be where you don't have this contradictory force at every moment like there is for the rest of the month. Okay, so if you want more details about what aspects are happening on what days and what can go along with that, definitely sign up for my free email newsletter, AnnieHelpsYou.com. And when you sign up for my free email newsletter, you also get, as a wonderful free gift, my entire 28-day virtual coaching package for free. So that will keep you on the list where you'll get these monthly write-ups a month ahead, where I give you the details and the overview of the month so you can see the days that have challenges and what you're working with there and the ones that are sweets if you're trying to plan ahead of time, as many people are. I'm going to hit just a couple of highlights, and then you can see the rest of the details at AnnieHelpsYou.com when you sign up for my free newsletter. Okay, so in the beginning of the month, the first couple of days, we've got sweet aspects and challenging ones just right next to each other. We've got the new moon on May 4th. That's the new moon in Taurus, so definitely make your new moon wishes, and you can see my blog about that for more details. If you just search for Making Powerful New Moon in Taurus Wishes, Annie, you will find it. But this has a beautiful aspect with Neptune on that day, so I expect some sweetness there sandwiched in between some of the challenges. Look out for overexertion and overcommitment in those days, like right there at the end of the week. Definitely take full advantage of those days between May 11th and May 18th for anything important, big steps, commitments, signing paperwork, launching things. They're just like so many beautiful things. I also love travel at that time. And really this whole month is amazing for travel. You just have to be really careful as you're doing it, and aware. Careful and awareful is what I say. Okay, let's see. There was one other thing I wanted to point out here. The full moon on May 18th. The full moon is at 27 degrees of Scorpio, and that also has a conjunction with Venus and Uranus. So this is really important. So let's just take this piece by piece. We've had multiple months in a row where we've had full moons that are centered around relationships, okay? Because we had 2 Libra full moons in a row, and now we have a Scorpio full moon. And the Libra and Scorpio are these relationship houses. So there may be some major drama at this time, or there could be wonderful breakthroughs within relationships or of any kind, or things coming to be revealed that were hidden before, or just sweet moments, a culmination of something sweet within a relationship. Of any kind. So fullness, drama, completion, breakthroughs, things like that in the areas of Scorpio. But the wild card here is this energy of Venus in Venus and Uranus, because whenever Uranus is involved, it's like things out of the blue, surprises, jostling, and it could be better for better or worse, So Venus rules love and money and self-esteem. So Uranus coming in here often can mean like conflict or fight or something surprise within a relationship that is a challenge. But sometimes it's like a marriage, proposal or something that comes out of the blue, and that's a culmination of this, relationship energy. So it could really be something sweet like that, but we just never know when Uranus is involved. So expect intensity. I always, we all have to live our lives and we have to work and do what we have to do, but if you can leave the full moon a little bit open so that if some challenges come up and you can be present for them, then you might be grateful for that. So try to be well rested. That's the other thing that I recommend when Uranus is involved, because if something comes out of the blue and you have to deal with it, at least if you're well rested and calm going into it, it will be easier for you to handle it in the most graceful way. In general, since the energy of Venus and Uranus are both in Taurus, this is, earth energy. This is like ground-breaking, ground-shaking energy. And sometimes it can be quite literally. Uranus in Taurus has already been very much associated with the waking up of the volcanoes over the last year. And, the other earth changes that come from that and earth effects that come from that, wild weather and things like that, that are related to the earth and the atmosphere. So, just kind of be aware at those times that there's more energy and more power, and just follow your intuition as far as where you're supposed to be and what you're supposed to be doing. Okay. So those are the things that are most on my mind for this month. Definitely go to AnnieHelpsYou.com, sign up for my free email newsletter, get my Shine 28-day virtual coaching program for free, get these written version of these general reports in your inbox a month early. You can sign up for a live reading there. You can see more about my vocational courses that I have, including my astrology apprenticeship program, where I can teach you how to use astrology for your personal or professional purposes. And I have lots of other things on my website, like subliminal audios that help you to train your brain in the direction of things that you want. So you can see all that at anniehelpsyou.com. Definitely check out my book, Radical Prayer, Transform Your Life in the World in 28 Days. If you are interested if you're a spiritual seeker and you want to align your energies with that of the divine and have the most easy, graceful life possible, this is your little friend. I made it in a nice portable size. It's a beautiful book on the inside and out for you to take with you and use the power of affirmation and prayer to transform your life and the world in positive ways. So you can see that at radicalprayerbook.com. It's an Amazon bestseller. You can go to my husband's website, iamhelios.com, iamhelios.com. He's got all kinds of goodies there. He does astrology readings and tarot readings. And if you'd like written horoscopes by me, plus other lifestyle blogs for natural living, you can go to cozybysweetstarlight.com and see my written horoscopes for you for each sign a month early each month. So I hope you have a wonderful month, and I'll see you next month. Bye.